He's the mayor of Lansing, but he's been creating a lot of noise. Well, some Democrats who support John Cherry will say he's been creating a lot of trouble. When we come right after this break, we'll talk to Mayor Boniro, the mayor of Lansing, about his aspirations to become Michigan's next governor. Welcome to Center Stage. I'm Bankole Thompson, right after this break. Welcome back. We're talking politics this week. The mayor of Lansing, Virg Boniro, was just selected to his 4th year as mayor of Lansing. Thank you all for coming.
Happy to be here, Bankole.
You know, I want to get right into it. You've been creating a lot of noise. You've been on the airwaves. You've been talking about what the Democrats ought to do or what they ought not to do. You've basically been offering yourself as an alternative here for the Democratic gubernatorial election next year.
Well, I'm taking a good look at that, Bankole. I'm concerned about where the party is. I'm concerned about losing the race potentially. I don't see the candidates who are in the race now really speaking to what the people need, really speaking to what the state needs at this time. We need change. You know, we need investment in our people. We need jobs for our people. Working as mayor of Lansing these last 4 years, I've been struggling like all of our cities are struggling. You know, our unemployment is high, about 10.5%. I know it's higher in other cities like Detroit and around the state. We've been fortunate in Lansing. You know, we've leveraged our assets and we've got $500 million in new investment in the city. There are some things happening. We're leveraging our assets, but still people are hurting, and we don't get the kind of support that we need from the state capitol.
And it's so interesting you mentioned that, because you are a Democrat, and some of these problems would be laid at the feet of a Democratic administration. So how do you respond to that? I mean, it's the Democrats, and you're part of that.
Well, exactly, and that's one of the reasons I'm considering running for governor, because I think we need to show we can make things work. And, you know, things are going pretty well in Lansing, but it's difficult when you're circumscribed by the state's economy and what's going on in the state. You know, when I grew up in this state, and I grew up in the Pontiac area, I used to come down to Detroit. I mean, great things were happening. We were on the move. We were re-energizing. We were injecting new life into our cities. Right now, there doesn't seem to be an urban agenda. And so I think that it will hurt us. I think any Democrat who runs without a plan to revitalize cities and without a track record that revitalizes cities and invests in people, I think we'll have a tough time.
I want to get into the urban agenda. You strike a very important issue that's important in the African-American community. But the obvious question, Mayor, is that you are a mayor of a small city. How can a mayor of a small city become the governor of a state?
Well, I think mayor is great training. You know, Lansing is about 115,000 people. The region is about 400,000 people. As I say, I grew up in Pontiac. I've studied these problems. You know, my degree is in political science. I've been a county commissioner, state representative, state senator, and now mayor of Lansing. So I've seen the problems from many different angles. And, you know, in many respects, what happens in Lansing, it's a microcosm of any other city. We have the same problems on a smaller scale that Detroit would have. And I care about those issues, and I have a track record on those issues. You know, when you're mayor, the buck stops with you. If the potholes don't get filled, if the police don't answer 911, all of those things are on my shoulders. When you're a legislator, you talk about these issues. You talk about them. You pass a bill. When you're mayor, you run the place. And so even though it's a city of 115,000, it's a very serious position. And, of course, I've done that for the last 4 years. I've had to make tough decisions in the budget, and the city of Lansing has a AA+ credit rating. We're one of only 5 cities in the state that can say that. We have a $9 million reserve. We had $10 million when I got there. You know, we've had to make tough decisions, but the city is going well. But we need help and support from state government.
How do you run, though? How do you consider a run for governor when the governor of the state of Michigan, a Democrat, and you're a Democrat, has made it clear on this program that John Cherry will be the presumptive nominee for governor of Michigan?
Well, you see, the key word there is presumptive, presumes. That presumes a lot. I don't believe the decision is made. In this state and in this country, we have elections, not coronations. And there will be an election. And, you know, a lot of people assumed that Hillary Clinton was going to be the Democratic. She was the presumptive nominee.
Yes.
But Barack Obama had something to say about that. And we may well have something to say about it this time. The people are going to have something to say about it. We need investment in human capital. We need investments in our cities. Look, the state's future is going to be determined by the cities. We've got to get rid of this hole in the donut. We need our cities to be the hub of the wheel and not the hole in the donut. We have what I call the hole in the donut theory of development. If you look at our cities, our major cities, Detroit, Pontiac, Flint, Muskegon, you look at our cities and we have centered development more and more around the city. We've abandoned our cities. We've allowed our cities to erode, and that is not a prescription for economic success. Look at this state. Look at the states that are succeeding. They have the thriving cities in them. The states that are succeeding the most have the most successful cities.
It is necessary that within the Democratic Party that there is a nomination fight, whether it's among you, it's yourself.
There is going to be a
Dillon,
fight.
the House Speaker, I understand, is considering a run, and you're going to have John Cherry. And so critics would say, well, you will only have the Republican Party then.
Oh, no. Look, I'm not here to run down John Cherry or Andy Dillon. John Cherry is a wonderful man. He served this state well.
What's wrong with him being the next governor?
Well, the question is who can win? Who can win? Who represents our values? Who has the track record, and who can win? I think I do represent those values. Growing up in Pontiac, coming from a working class family, my dad retired from GM. I fought for everything that I've got, and I know we've got to fight for this state. I helped lead the fight to have our auto companies saved for the rescue package from Washington. I've gone to Washington standing up for working people, and we need investment, and I'm going to continue that fight. We need a governor who's going to stand up for Michigan and fight for Michigan.
So John Cherry cannot win?
A lot of people are saying that.
But what is Mayor Boniro saying?
If I run for governor, it will be because I think I'm the best candidate. And like I say, I don't want to run other people down. We've got enough of that in politics. And we got enough of the Democrat-Republican. We got enough of the blame game. The issue is who can represent Michigan to Washington, who can fight for us, and who can develop a plan to move Michigan forward. My plan, yes, I've only done it in Lansing, but you can look in Lansing, come to Lansing and see what I've done for 4 years. And you can look around the state and see what John Cherry and Jennifer Granholm have done. You can see what they've done. You can look at what their urban agenda was. I was very upset with what happened with the stimulus package. We had a wonderful opportunity to have it make a transformational difference in our cities, to have projects funded that we could never get funded before. How was that money used? 3/4 of that money never left the state capitol. They used that to fill budget holes instead of making transformational difference in cities like Detroit. That was a couple $2 billion spread across the state. Could have made an incredible difference. Imagine 2 or 3 or 4 key catalytic projects that could have gotten going in Detroit that would have served for years to come. I can sure imagine that in my city, and I can imagine it in cities all over, but we didn't do that.
So you're saying the administration misused, or basically misused the federal money?
Incredible. Not that they misused it in a legal sense, but an incredible missed opportunity because they didn't have their financial house in order.
Okay, let's hold that thought. When we come back, more with Mayor Boniro, and then we'll have a round table.